Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Jamie B. I read a ton of books, and it is now the Women's Prize longlist season. The Women's Prize longlist comes out on March 4th, and we have about 2 weeks to guess what's going to be on it before we find out what we got right and what we didn't. I am a novice in this game, and I'm also in the US, as you can tell from my accent. And we don't have access to the books at the same time. So there are some books that I've read for prizes for the US that are only now becoming eligible for the Women's Prize, which is in the UK, based on the UK publication dates. So there's books like that I may or may not have figured out the correct publication dates. So I'm not actually making a predictions video. I'm doing a reaction to predictions of other people video, sort of. I suppose I'm making predictions, but I have so little confidence in my getting all the dates right that I will not be at all surprised if I see comments like, oh, that one's not coming out till next year in the UK, or, oh, that one's already been out for 2 years in the UK and is only just now coming out in the US, or that kind of stuff. Yeah, so caveat, I'm not in the publishing world. I will probably get some of these wrong. And guaranteed, as with all these prediction games, nobody ever predicts them all correctly. There's always books that we just don't see them as arcs in NetGalley, and that they're just not talked about in our corner, and so we just don't hear about them. Obviously, they're not popularity contests, at least not the Women's Prize. So a book can be barely talked about at all in BookTube, but still nominated by its publisher for the award. We don't necessarily see that. And we certainly are not getting the nominations list. One of the things I like best about the BookTube prize is we get a much better idea of what the books are that are being considered. So we know more what the options even are. Even then, though, every prize, there's only so many books they can consider, and there's just so much time available for judges to read the books. So it's unrealistic for them to catch them all. None of them are going to get the best book. So it's just a fun way to highlight some of the great books out there. And I think that's what a lot of the prediction videos do. I haven't trained my algorithm very well, or there just haven't been a lot of prediction videos. I've seen 3 prediction videos. One from Nicole at Dusty Book Sniffers. She and I are BookTube friends. So we chat about the prize in chats a lot lately, although she's on vacation, so you might have seen her prediction video live from Britain, which I'm totally jealous because that looked like a really cool book space behind her. Anyway, so she's on vacation. She did manage to get her predictions video out, but she won't be back for a week, 2 weeks, something like that. So we'll see her around the time that the long list drops, it sounded like. And then I saw the video for Eric and Anna. They did a video together. So they each picked 16 and then talked about them all in the same video. And then one from Camilla at Hasty Books. I always have a hard time with the name of her channel. Hasty Books. So that's the only predictions videos I've seen so far from other people for the Women's Prize. I've chatted about the predictions on chats with other people, and I know some folks that don't do videos have their own ideas of what might be on the prize. So I started out with putting together a list of the books that I've read as NetGalley arcs that are within the time frame according to NetGalley. This is where the caveat comes in, because some of them may not be available in Britain just because they're available according to NetGalley, because usually when I get approved books on NetGalley, it's in the US. I do have access to the UK, and sometimes I do get approved for books off the UK site, especially if they're not available in the US site. But usually if they're available on both, I get the US version. So when it's listing the publication date, that's the one I'm saying. I looked up some of the ones that I was wanting to include on my list. So for instance, Sunbirth by An Yu is available in the UK, and I think does fall within the correct dates. It's an outlier. Nobody else has talked about it, but I think it should be considered. That's one of mine. That's like, I liked it. They should be reading it. So first I'm going to just tell you what my 16 books are. If I got to 16, I got 14. And then some that are like, yeah, they probably be on there. So my list, I'm just going to go with the 14 and then I'll talk about some other books. So Becoming Sarah by Diane Botnick, I've heard no one talk about this book. But it hits a lot of interesting points. It's historical fiction, identity fiction, deals with the Holocaust and being a survivor, and gets into future a little bit. It dips its toe into near future sci-fi. So I thought that one was an interesting book. I've heard no one talk about it. I don't know if any of my friends have asked for it on NetGalley or read it or anything. But if you haven't heard of it yet, Becoming Sarah by Diane Botnick was good. And I'm trying to leave some space next to me because you might have noticed I don't really do the pictures of covers on my videos. Technologically challenged booktuber here. But I intend to figure out how to make that happen. So this is a video. I'm just going to get it out first, but if you watch it in a month or two, it might have improved, where there's actually pictures of the covers. Because I figure it's a good time to try it. These videos age out pretty quickly as soon as the actual list is up. Anyway, A Guardian and a Thief by Megha Majumdar. This one was on prize lists last year and did pretty well. And I really liked it. It was one of my favorites for National Book Award, I think. And it was on other prize lists as well. It is also on the BookTube prize checklist, so it may get a lot of attention this year. And well-deserved. I really like that one. Fox by Joyce Carol Oates. As Eric Carl Anderson said, she's always got a prize-eligible book, and she never makes the shortlist. Yeah. I don't think this one is going to make the list because the topic is so polarizing. As in, it's on pedophilia. And it's timely as we're dealing with the Epstein files, and for imagining, okay, what are we looking for in terms of evidence, and why would it be hard to actually establish the fact of pedophilia after the fact? How would you prove it? What do you need? What kinds of evidence would you be looking for? I don't normally think about these things because they're gross. And I suspect most people are like that. So this book does model out, okay, what does this even look like? What does it look like to groom a young girl for sexual purposes? And, what would you see of that from the outside? And would the girl talk about it? Would there be, the girl's diaries talking about it? What does that even look like? So I found it useful because I was reading this around the same time the Epstein files were sort of kind of released. So it was a timely release for me. But I can see why a lot of people just won't read it. So unless the Women's Prize wanted to send a strong political message with what they include in their list, probably not. But yeah, as long as you are aware of the trigger warnings, I liked it. There are criticisms of how Joyce Carol Oates is always writing about women who are victimized, and not everyone likes the way she talks about those women while they're being victimized. I like that she's trying to not both sides the issue, but showing a full picture of the various stakeholders involved in the story. So what is actually going on in the heads of these different people that creates this situation? And there is some value judgment, and it's not pro-pedophilia by any stretch. But you're still getting a bigger picture of what's going on, not just the judgment side, which we're pretty good at. So I like that, but it does make for really heavy reading. And yeah, this is definitely one of those. Anyway, next on my list is Kin by Tayari Jones. I have not read it. I have not read her other one, American Marriage, I think, that was on the prize list years ago and I think won. I have Kin as an ARC. I will be getting to it. I just haven't yet. Becoming Sarah, by the way, was an ARC that I got off NetGalley. And it came out in October in the US and I think in the UK, but that one I'm not sure. I think it's available. Anyway, I know Kin is, and it's on everybody's list so far, because if you've won the Women's Prize in the past, you automatically get to be included if you submit your book, basically. So it doesn't count against the publisher for their one slot. So obviously, if they have a book eligible, they're probably going to include it. And we have Glyph by Ali Smith, the new one. I believe it falls within the publication date range. I have it as an ARC. Have I read it yet? No. It's on my list for this month. So I will be getting to it. Actually, any of them that I have not read that I have ARCs of that are on my little list here are on my TBR this month because it's ridiculous I haven't read them yet. I have Helm by Sarah Hall as well. Yes, I will be getting to it this month. Oh my gosh, it was on lists last year and I still have to get to it. Miss Veal and Miss Ham by Vicky Haywood. This is one, again, I've never heard of anybody else reading it except I think maybe one of my friends that doesn't do videos. But it's not been on anyone's lists. It's about an aging lesbian couple that's dealing with economics and changes that have resulted in one of them that's been running this little postal station losing their position. And it brings in all the issues of marital status in older LGBTQ families in Britain, where something like this, it's challenging for any family, but if you aren't married because it wasn't legal and you haven't taken advantage of it suddenly being legal, now what do you do? And wills and other things come into play as well because they're getting older. And anyway, so it has a lot of interesting stuff in it. And it was really well done. Vicky Haywood, I think, is Dame Vicky Haywood. I'm pretty sure. So anyway, that one is on my list. I've never heard of anyone reading it lately. It's in the dates. It's obviously a very British novel. I'm not sure if it's out in the US. That might have been one I got from the UK site. But it might be on both. A lot of them are the same date on both. Anyway, if you have access to it and are looking for a good, different LGBTQIA, whatever the letters are now, plus book, this one was really good. Next on my list is Sunbirth by An Yu. The cover on this one is gorgeous. That's what I got it for as an ARC. And it's also really good. It is kind of a modern day kind of morality tale, fairy tale, but it's literary fiction. It's not really fantasy or sci-fi. It's really about the people. The situation is just kind of absurdist or, not set in our world story. Speculative fiction, not really, maybe, sort of. I don't know. Anyway, it's one of those. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it was translated. That's one where it doesn't seem like it had a translator. But I may be wrong on that one. If I am, look it up anyway. Read it. It was really good. Awaken the Floating City by Susanna Kwan. This one, Camille at Hasty Books listed it in her 16 book predictions. So I know somebody else has read this one. It was really good. Set in the near future. Climate fiction, centering around a young woman who is a professional carer for elderly people. And she's taking care of this old man, and he's reminiscing, and she's dealing with stuff. And she's also got a girlfriend or wife. I don't remember if they're married or not, but a partner. And his idea of women being in a relationship with each other is, I think, part of the cognitive dissonance that's going on in part of the story. So a little bit of an LGBTQIA plus element, but it's not the center of the story. But it is identity politics and memory and climate fiction. And I really enjoyed it. I had it as an ARC at the beginning of the year, last year. It's been a while. And we have maybe No Friend to This House by Natalie Haynes. This is one I did not get as an ARC. I'm pretty sure I requested it, but I didn't get it. I think the publisher is one that takes issue with you having a lot of unread ARCs. Yeah. There are some of those. I get a lot of ARCs approved, despite my abysmal numbers. But there are some that they're just like, no, read your ARCs first. So I don't have this one, but Natalie Haynes will show up eventually in my library's listings. So I will get to it. This one is a retelling of a Greek myth, mythological character. I know very little about it except that she's a great author. I've read other books by her, and yeah, I like the idea of that one. And I needed something for my list that I wanted to read. Paradiso 17 by Hannah Lilith Asadi. this is one that I do have as an ARC. And I thought about it as a prize possible book when I requested it. And then hadn't really thought about it until Camilla at Hasty Books listed it on hers. And I was like, oh yeah, that is one of the ones that I specifically requested because I thought, oh, that sounds like a prize book. So that one's on my list. Cursed Daughters by Oyenka and Braithwaite. This one I know very little about it, except I've heard really good things. And I've heard really good things for long enough that if it's eligible, it should be in consideration. And then The Complex by Karen Mahajan, which comes out this month. Comes out in March. We're in February still. Within the dates. And Sisters in Yellow by Mieko Kawakami, which also comes out in March. And then I have 2 slots that I didn't really know what I wanted to put in them. So there's a lot of options that I may or may not want to read. There's some that I read. The Last of Its Kind by Sybil Grimbert, I would love to see on the Women's Prize list. It is about a great auk and kind of climate fiction and what it means to be human and kind of the nature of our relationship with other species. I liked it. Then we have Lightbreakers by Aja Gable, which I could see it being on the list, but it's not really one that I would really want on the list. I had The Beauty of the End by Lauren Steenstra, which I don't really remember, except that I thought, oh, that one could be. The Book of Sela by Welda Hughes. This one is kind of in the same subgenre as The Handmaid's Tale. Futuristic, post-apocalyptic society based around misogyny and patriarchy and a religious zealot, and I think it's even isolated kind of along the lines of a Handmaid's Tale. But it is a different book, and it's set in a different part of the U.S. I believe it's available in the UK, but I'm not sure. The Fourth Daughter by Lynn Yao Butler. I'm not sure if she's an author they usually would consider. She may be too mainstream. I don't know. But I really liked this one, and it deals with a mother whose child was given away by her husband because it was an unlucky number, something along those lines. So it deals with a lot of identity issues and stuff that was going on in China at the time, and so it was a lot more literary than some of Butler's other books. And I really enjoyed it. I think, oh, that would actually could be a prize type book. And then 10 Incarnations of Rebellion by Vaishnavi Patel. This one is an alternate history near future set in India and deals with a lot of issues around social justice and resistance and all sorts of stuff and gender issues. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure how much of that they do in Women's Prize, but they've done some speculative fiction near future stuff before. So I could see it being an appropriate book for them. So out of the ones that other people have suggested, we have Flashlight by Susan Choi, The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny by Kiran Desai. These are both ones that have been on other prize lists. A lot of people are including them in their predictions list. A Beautiful Loan by Mary Costello. I have that one as an ARC, and Eric listed it on his. We have Audition by Katie Kitamura. I've still not acquired a copy of it, but I'm not surprised people are including it. I don't know if I'll like it or not. It's not one I was going to rush out and get before it started being included on lists, but I will read it when I get a copy. Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This is one that Leandra at the TBR Zero was talking about. And I read it because of her, and I liked it. It's a similar vibe to The Last of Its Kind, but with a mystery element and some dark secrets. I think for literary fiction, I like The Last of Its Kind better, but there's similar enough books that you might like one if you like the other. And I definitely recommend both. Endling by Maria Reva. I have not read it yet. I read Nesting. Endling's one that I couldn't get yet. You have Glyph that several people have included. The Book of Records by Madeline Thien. I've never read her, but Eric and Anna both have that book on their lists, and Eric talks about Madeline Thien a lot. I need to read her. The Names by Florence Knapp. Charlie included. That was the other video. Charlie, Camilla, Eric, and Anna, and Nicole. So I've had four videos I've watched. The Names by Florence Knapp was on Charlie's video, along with Cursed Daughters by Oyenkan Braithwaite. Celestial Lights by Cecil Pinn. I have that arc. Charlie and Nicole both included that on their lists. Let's see. I don't remember if I got Bog Queen. I know that was an arc I looked at. I don't know if I requested it. So some of these I didn't really think of as things that I wanted to read, and now maybe I would want to have read them. I did get The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I have it in print somewhere. There it is. Yeah. Under Yarn, of course. So as soon as I go for the book, it knocks all the yarn off. But I do have The Correspondent. So that one is one I will be reading. It is on the Goodreads prize, not Goodreads prize, BookTube prize checklist. So this one's one I knew I was going to need to read anyway, because if it makes the cut, there's a good chance the next round of judging I will need to read it. And then a bunch of books I'd not heard of before, and should we get into Nicole's specific ones, which includes the No Friend to This House. So yeah, I think that's pretty much my guesses and ones that, yeah, I might include them, that someone else mentioned them, and maybe they're good ideas for what we might have. I did go through my NetGalley and put books in a folder for prize guesses. So the ones I included in there, and I don't know if all of these are available in the UK in the right dates, because I get, as I said, most of them from the US. But I Hope You Find What You're Looking For by Bisrat Mizgebe, which I don't think is in translation. That one's one I did look at to see if there was a translator. I think that one's actually written in English. The Scent of Oranges by Kathy George is a sort of an extension on a Charles Dickens novel, I think. Taking off on one of the characters from one of his books. I don't know much about it. I'm going to try and go in blind, so... but I think it's in the right dates. It might be of interest. The Unbroken Coast by Nalini Jones. I know very little about it. I've read the first 5 pages. A Splintering by Dur-e-Aziz Amna. I don't remember if I checked to see if this is a woman or a man writing it. Not a name that I instantly recognize as being male or female, but I could have sworn I looked it up. Let's look this one up, because I hate not knowing. It's about women. that much is for sure. I'm pretty sure this is written by a woman. Do they actually say her book or she? Yes, they do. I did look it up. This one, let's see. In a village in rural Pakistan, Tara is waiting and watching. The smell of dung and dust hangs over her world. She's desperate to leave the petty life of the village and escape the iron grip of her violent, unpredictable brother. Set against a hypnotic, oppressive backdrop of political violence and natural disaster, A Splintering traces the class struggle of a woman stuck between province and metropolis, between motherhood and ambition. Yeah, so I thought that one sounded really good. And it is by a woman. I did look that one up. And then I have And the Ancestors Sing by Radha Lynn Chadha. I did look that one up. All the World Can Hold by Jung Yun. Gatsby by Jane Crowther. Good Guys by Sharon Bala. The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts by Kim Fu. A Beast Slinks Towards Beijing by Alice Evelyn Yang. And Call Me Ishmael by Xiaolu Guo. So those are kind of outliers, and I don't know enough about them. Nobody else has talked about them. And I've not been doing this long enough to go out on a limb and say these are going to be on the list. But if I was a novice looking at, oh, those might be good women's prize books, all of those could be good women's prize books. So I will put a list of all the ones I've talked about eventually in the description, and I will try and stuff a picture of the covers for all of them, like up there, once I figure out how to do it, as I'm talking about them in the video. So that's going to be a learning how to do it project with this video. That will not happen right away because I'm also trying to make my bookstore happen. Unfortunately, that is the priority, and learning how to do booktube stuff is when I have the time, energy, and resources to do it. Once I'm in my bookstore, then that part will be done and I can focus on doing desk-related stuff like figuring out booktube while I'm waiting for customers. So there will be things that I will be learning how to do that you'll see rolling out in future videos. And this will be hopefully the first one where I actually figure out how to put books on the screen eventually. So anyway, let me know in the comments if you have read any of the books that I have talked about in this video, especially the ones that everybody else did not include in their lists. And I will also put links for the 4 prediction videos that I watched for you to check out their videos. They're all very much better at this than I am. They actually put it on the screen, and some of them have scripts, and oh my gosh. I'm definitely the newbie in this scene. And I'm sure there are others that make the videos that my algorithm just doesn't think I need to watch, because it's amazing how few booktube videos it shows me sometimes. Oh my goodness. But yeah, hopefully this one will be the first of many, because I love following the prize lists and definitely plan to do more videos about them. So stay tuned for more of that. I will probably try to do a reaction video when the list comes out for the long list, in some form or another, maybe not with the pictures on the screen. It depends on what I'm doing with the whole book bookstore project at the time. We are running into the month where I was kind of estimating I'd be maybe starting to get an idea where we're going to be. Maybe even moving. But, don't want to get ahead of myself on that one. So if I'm too much into the bookstore, it'll just be a quick talking video, kind of like this one. Anyway, I will talk to you guys soon, probably pretty soon, because I finished at least 3 of the books that were on my TBR this week. So I might do a short video talking about the 3, or maybe 4 by the time I get to it. So I don't have to do them all in one giant video. So I will see you in the next one, or on chats somewhere in BookTube. Talk to you later, guys. Bye!